Welcome to the first episode of Super Good, Super Delicious podcast. I'm your host, Carly, with an EY. Welcome! We're filming outside today because we have had a nice little spell here, late October, very nice weather, plus 20. I mean, gloomy, cloudy, a little sunny, but I thought take advantage while it's here, right? So, you'll be seeing me, if you're watching, you'll be seeing me inside probably after the first two episodes will be outside, and then we'll probably go inside. Okay. I wanted to start this podcast because I wanted to chat about all things gluten-free, vegan, celiac disease, just having an open discussion and chit-chatting about all things to do with that. I've been vegan for around 5 years now, and I found out I had celiac disease last year in 2022, April, I believe. I do have a video on my YouTube channel if you want to go check that out. And so now it has been about 1.5 years since not eating gluten, and we are doing well, very well, and highly recommend if you have stomach problems, get that looked into, because I assume I'm lactose intolerant. I can't handle dairy anyways. I've never been tested, but I cannot eat dairy. Okay. So that's why veganism was just super easy to me. I don't really like meat. So it was just easy. It was like, well, might as well just be vegan. So we've been on this journey, and being vegan and gluten-free is not for the faint of heart, I will say. So for those of you that are watching or listening that are just have celiac like my mother and eat everything else, then this is also going to be for you, because I'm going to be talking about celiac disease and being gluten-free separately at times, and then of course including veganism into it as well. Okay, to kick off this first episode, I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite things that I like to use in baking, vegan baking, gluten-free baking, combination. Okay, number one, and I get this question asked a little bit. So flours. What I found personally is the Bob's Red Mill flours are the best. I just like them. I find them at Bulk Barn if you want to just scoop and weigh, or at most like every grocery store you can find them. So Bob's Red Mill 1-to-1 gluten-free flour and Bob's Red Mill all-purpose gluten-free flour. Those are my go-tos. The combination of the two is perfection. I'm not lying. I have not dabbled with getting all separate, like sorghum, rice, chickpea, potato, I think millet, buckwheat. I'm pretty sure those are gluten-free. I have not dabbled in combining 5 different gluten-free flours, which is what I do find in a lot of recipes. Like if you try and find a bread recipe, I'm just personally interested in the easiest way that makes something delicious. So that's where I come from, and I can just grab 2 bags of flour, mix them together, boom, we're good. Okay, so I use more of the 1-to-1 than the all-purpose. The reasoning behind that, so it's about a 75% chance, 75% 1-to-1 gluten-free flour, and then 25% of the all-purpose flour. So if you have 1 cup in the recipe, I'll do 3/4 of a cup 1-to-1, 1/4 of a cup all-purpose. Okay, get my drift? This has been the ratio that has worked superb in all things. My pancakes, cakes, cupcakes, literally pie, literally everything. Actually, yeah, pie crust, literally everything. The reasoning is the 1-to-1 has xanthan gum. Okay, it's a rice-based flour, and then it has xanthan gum in it, which is what is going to be your binder, similarly to gluten in gluten flour. Okay, so that is why it is the majority in the flour mixture. Okay, the all-purpose gluten-free flour is a chickpea based, no xanthan. Okay, so there's no binders. If I just use purely that, everything's going to be really runny and really thin, like pancakes, for example. I've done it because I ran out, and it's not great. But I mean, if you were to make crepes or something, that would probably be actually what I would go for instead. But this combination has been my go-to and the best that I have found. Obviously, I'll probably experiment later on in the later years when I get bored. Let's try something new, you know? So that's it for flowers. So next up, plant milk, something I use regularly. So plant milks, I've tried nearly all of them. Cashew, coconut, oat, literally soy, so many, okay? What I found in previous years, my chocolate cake recipe that I use, my go-to, soy milk did better. I believe because of the high protein content in soy milk that it helped the structure and keep the cake together better. So I believe that soy milk is really great to use in baked goods. When I used other milks, it came out more fragile. However, my favorite right now is the Silk Next Milk. The reason that I like the Next Milk, the regular one, is because one, there's no sweetness. You can use it in things like mashed potatoes or other savory dishes that you really don't want sweetness in, okay? That's what I found. And then as well for baked goods, I did find, I don't know if maybe it has a higher fat content, I'm not sure about that one, but it does really well in all baked goods that I've tried. I find it to be more of like a creamier, it's really close to me tasting like real milk. If you drink it on its own, but it performs the same way when I make my chocolate cake and cupcakes. I find it is very similar as the soy milk, but I know the Next Milk is like a combination of things, coconut and everything, but it doesn't taste like coconut. So that is that on milks. Now we're gonna go into plant butters. So I was obsessed with Melt, the brand, and I found not very many people even knew about it, and I was like, why is this not that common? And it's really hard to find, only at Superstore and then at our local natural food store. And I'm like, this is weird because it's really good butter. I believe it is salted. It doesn't state that it's salted, but they only make one kind. At the time, there was literally Melt and Earth Balance, and that was it for plant butters when I first came across them. So they came in 4 stick forms and also like a little tub, and I was just obsessed. The one problem I encountered with it is when I make frosting, I have to use just a smaller amount and then more shortening, which I think shortening in frosting is best anyways because it helps to hold everything and keep it frosty and not melt. Okay, so that was one issue I found with it, that in frostings, if you just use butter, it will melt. It will not be fluffy and hold. Okay, that is the thing. Other than that, it's great. I really like it. It's a good price point. What I always could get on deal for a long time. They had a coupon for $1 off inside the box, so I was just cutting them coupons out every time I'd buy like 2 at a time, because at Superstore it was like buy 2 and they're only like $4.50 or something like that. And I'm like, this is for me, because the other things were like $5.99 or $7 or whatever. So I was like, this is the best option for me at this moment. And then just a few, like maybe a month or so ago, I was put on by one of my followers on Instagram, and she was like, you know, there's this Becel, which I always buy Becel margarine for putting on, you know, toast, whatever. But they actually do make a plant butter now. They make unsalted and salted, and they also make it into sticks. So the sticks are more expensive for some reason. And so I have just gotten the brick, and it is packaged exactly the same as regular butter, dairy butter, with the foil and everything. And so far, I love it, and it's a good price point too. It's about the same as regular butter, dairy butter. Why? This is the second time. Sorry for those listening if I leave this in. A ladybug landed on me. It's the second one. Actually the third. I don't know if it's the same one. When I came outside, I saw a ladybug on our barbecue. Lots of spots, tons of spots. And then when I was putting my mic on, I was like, oh, something's on my sweater. There was ladybug right here on my sweater, and I think it was the one from the barbecue. I don't know. I think it had spots. Now that one just was on my hand. It didn't have any spots though. It's weird. So yeah, I didn't want to leave, but bugs creep me out a little bit, so I had to say goodbye because I was not gonna let it just keep crawling on me while I do this. Okay. Anyways, where was I? We're talking about butter. So far, so good. I've made pie crust with it, amazing. I've made cookies with it, amazing. I really like the texture and everything that comes out with the unsalted one that I've tried so far. And the flavors, I don't know if I've put it in mashed potatoes yet, but so far, amazing. I really, really like it, and it is a good price point. So like, I think around $5.99, something like that. Something similar to dairy butter in that square form. Can't wait to try it in a frosting. I'll have to try it soon so I can really see if there's a difference. Moving on to our next go-to item. Oh my god, there's a ladybug in my lap. This one has a ton of spots. Okay, we're just ladybugs. Maybe this is just meant to be. Anyways, we're drinking Stash apple cinnamon, kind of like an apple cider, apple maple, something like that, tea today. Back on track, y'all. Coconut cream and milk. Okay, I'm gonna say coconut milk. That's what it says on the cans. Okay, my go-to, my favorite that I found, I've tried quite a few different coconut milk brands. My favorite is the Thai Kitchen coconut milk brand. Okay, one of the reasons why I really love them is there's only 3 ingredients: coconut milk, water, and guar gum. So all the other ones that I've seemed to find have like polysorbate 60, I think that's what it's called. And I'm like, I don't know what that is, so maybe I don't want to be ingesting it. Maybe it's fine. Maybe it's just a weird name for something normal. But for the most part, I try to avoid stuff like that. So I like the Thai Kitchen brand. It is more expensive and it is worth every penny, okay? They have regular, which is like a full fat, and then they have light, which is obviously lighter. I categorize them separately. So the full fat, the regular can, is for baked goods only, and the light one is for savory and cooking dishes like curry. The reasoning is because the full fat one has more coconut flavor and also is a heavier cream, which definitely goes definitely goes better with the baked goods, because usually you want that higher fat content in baked goods. It adds for better flavor and everything like that. And then in the cooking dishes, you usually want a lighter and obviously not coconutty flavor for most dishes, but you want a lighter. What me personally speaking anyways is I prefer the lighter coconut milks in things like curry, and the full fat one works really well for whipped cream. If you put it in the fridge and then you scoop out the cream, whip it up, it works really great. So I've never had an issue with the Thai brand, other than it is slightly more challenging to find. It's not that challenging, but it can be hard because not every grocery store carries it. Okay, that is it for the coconut milk, and that is it for our favorite items. My go-to items, other than I could mention sugar, my favorite is Red Path. I have emailed them and all of their sugars are vegan. Amazing, no bone char. And then my go-to for white sugar replacement is cane sugar. I usually get the organic kinds from President's Choice, so Superstore, or Compliments, which is Sobeys brand. They both make organic cane sugar. From what I recall, all organic cane sugars do not contain bone char. So that is my take on sugar. Also, icing sugar, Wholesome Sweeteners icing sugar, the best. Expensive, but I will mix it with Red Path icing sugar. Not the best, but if you mix the two, you got some good frosting, some good sugar. Okay, that's what I do for sugar. So, okay, on that note, these are just my opinions. These are the things I have learned through the years of trial and error baking and cooking, vegan, and this last year and a half of being gluten-free. And obviously there will be more learning to come. I highly recommend and suggest you learn and do all the things yourself. Trial and error is the best learning tool. That way you can see what you like the best, because not everyone's the same. You might think that one brand sucks or doesn't taste great, so you don't want to do that. You don't want to do it that way. I understand. That's why we're here to chat, okay? Oh, another thing, ingredients are always changing. New products are always coming out and recipes are always updating. Okay, so don't ever feel like you need to be stuck in a certain way because things are always changing. Welcome the change with open arms. Okay. That will be it for this episode, our very first episode. That will be it. I'm so excited and so happy. I told myself when I hit 500 subs on YouTube, we're launching this podcast, and I literally just went ham today writing out podcast episodes because I hit 493 and I'm like, oh my god, I don't have a script ready. I don't know what my first episode's gonna be about. So anyways, thank you so much for listening and watching. If you're watching on YouTube, I really appreciate it. Comment down below if you have any suggestions that you love, any episodes, anything you want to chat about, you want me to dive into, chat about, let me know. I'm here. I love to ramble, I love to talk, which is why I haven't started this earlier. I don't know, okay? I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you maybe learned something new or confirmed something that you're like, I thought. Does that even make sense? I don't know. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something new, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.